outlandish claims. Usually there's going to be 5 episodes per week, but because Dwayne Reed decides to treat his employees like they have no personal lives and have nothing to do but answer every call that they make, we lost our 5th panelist. So,
and we also lost a possible sponsorship. So good job.
Who needs Dwayne Reed?
Walgreens is better. You're good.
One of our panelists.
Well, not really. He can find a job anywhere. He's pretty good at this. He got thousands of YouTube followers. He don't need no Dwayne Reed.
Yeah, the second you said that, Adam, Millz faded into the stadium like a blip. Mr. Clint Fraser, I don't feel so good.
Any other words we have here, gentlemen? We cut off the argument kind of quick there, but oh, I know words. I didn't get to talk last time, so there's plenty of words left to say. You cannot account for the fact. I understand everything that my panelists. You know what? I'm not this gracious. Screw what my panelists have said. You are taking the actual offseason, the mental anguish of a team having their own coach screw them over out of a championship, and then having to sit and watch as not just being a franchise that hasn't won in 18 years. You have another franchise in the same city that hasn't won in 14 years. And they both won. 2004 is where I like to start their actual history because they've gotten their legs under them. They know how to play the game. They're at least a threat sometimes, not always, but a decent amount of the time they can scare people. And when they lose to when they beat a team, it's really embarrassing. Then they get Joe Madden and they get to the World Series. They are the best team in the AL East from 2008 to 2013. And then they do nothing. They regress to a sub-500 team. And you know what? They came back and they got Kevin Cash. And they're good again. They're great again. And here they are. Oh my God, a shortened season, and they have the best arms in the league. They're going to win the World Series. They should. They don't have the money, but they have the arms. They can deal with Machado because he's hot. He's more hot and cold than a Katy Perry song. They got Clayton Kershaw, who chokes more than a fat man in a steakhouse. They can do this. And oh my God, they win the craziest game you'll ever see in your life. The momentum is theirs. Okay, Tyler Glasnow kind of screws himself a little bit. He's young. Game 5, they lose. Blake Snell, he's ready to go because he knows how to do it. He's won a Cy Young. He's been in the playoffs before. He's killing it. And you want to talk about bad press for a team? How about the op-ed from Blake Snell about how him walking out to the mound, he's ready to go, and all of a sudden he sees Nick Anderson in the bullpen. You want to talk about bad press? Blake Snell was so pissed off. And his op-ed is him taking his claws right out of the ceiling and being like, I love Kevin Cash. I understand the position he was in. And then for him to say how sad he was leaving. You want bad press? You have the best pitcher your team has ever had, minus David Price, telling you he almost cried when he left, telling you his father, who he never saw cry before, was crying after the game. That's bad press. It's not bad legal press. There's a different scope of this. What these people on the Mets and the Mariners do is illegal and morally wrong. I'm talking about strictly bad press that does not have anything to do with the law. When you bring in the law, that's a whole different story. You're going to have to deal with a hell of a lot more teams than just those two. But just from a bad press perspective that makes you feel dead inside and is going to eat in that clubhouse all season.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Adam's therapy session. As you can tell.
I mean, I'm not mad at you for saying that.
No. I you know what? I think you bring up a lot of frustration, and it's not just teams that there are other teams that have very similar feelings in their fan base too.
Yeah,
I'm sure Royals fans, the Rangers, the Angels, for God's sakes,
the poor Rangers. I still laugh about Game 6.
Look at the Angels, right? can't even make a playoff series, and they got the best player in baseball on their team.
Haven't been past the LDS in almost a decade.
So you're not alone in those sentiments. That's something that, you know, a lot of people are going to listen and hear that and be like, yeah, totally. Makes sense right here, what he's saying. So,
you know what doesn't make sense?
pulling
Bobby
a picture in the sixth inning.
is going to be over the same year as Fernando Tatis's.
Yeah.
That's
Whose
my
contract?
favorite. That's my favorite piece of information now.
Whose contract?
Fernando Tatis's contract and Bobby Bonilla's contract end the same year.
Had the best offseason.
Well, I think at this point we're pretty set for the entire week, gentlemen. So now we come to our closing segment, which is actually a segment. It's not an episode. It's a segment within a segment. Inception. In segment. There it is. In segment. There we go. We got it. Closing thoughts. Mr. Miller,
Okay,
we know what your first initial topic was.
Yeah. So,
Your final thoughts.
you know, on the topic of discussion, there's been a lot of talk in Yankees camp or in the offseason, primarily surrounding the pitching staff, and for good reason. You know, there's a lot of low risk, high reward signings. Guys coming back off suspension like Domingo Germán, but there's one guy in question, and that's Luis Medina. 21 years old, prospect, hasn't broken high A ball. I didn't hear the quote directly. I didn't read it anywhere specifically, but Adam brought it to my attention, and it got my gears going that apparently Aaron Boone thought or speculating that he could be at the major league level at some point this year. And I'm here to tell you that's one of the worst ideas possible. If the Yankees do that, number one, there's only two reasons why they would do that. Number one is they've had a massive amounts of injuries to the rotation or the bullpen, and they need that extra support. Or two, Medina has absolutely shot up and is on a rise to legendary status, clearly. 21 years old, hasn't broken high A ball, and he had a 6 ERA at regular A ball.
Sorry, what was that, Mills?
I said, and those are my closing thoughts.
Those are your closing thoughts. Oh, we don't have to hear him speak for the rest of the night. Thank God.
Thank
Mr. Edwards.
Well, you know,
Mr. Edwards, I
though-
saw him get props, so I'm looking forward to this.
even though I agree that it's definitely a blessing that our very own Bucci logo does not get to speak. I am going to agree with my best friend of 20 years now. My last closing thoughts have to be around none other than the New York Yankees. Okay? And by the way, I picked up 3 pairs of these shoes for both me and Gio and Taylor when they came out. You know what I'm saying? The captain ones. So get your game up. But anyways, the reason why I'm going to talk about the Yankees is because it is now coming on 12 years since we have not only won a championship, but also been to a World Series. The Yankees better win the AL East this year. I'm just going to call it like that right now, okay? You signed Corey Kluber, okay? You still got Zach Britton in the bullpen, who I believe was very, very right in calling out Domingo Germán, okay? That's what you got to do. You got to address Domingo Germán in that locker room, okay? That's the reality of that situation. I don't care what nobody says. You put your hands on a woman, you are held accountable. I don't give a damn, okay? That's the reality.
100%.
You put him in that bullpen with Aroldis Chapman, okay? That's year 2 of them doing their thing. Love that. You still got Garrett Cole, okay? You bring back on the offensive side of the ball. You still got Stanton. Hopefully he's going to be healthy. You still got Judge. You still got all of these boys in the outfield and the infield, pretty much loaded at every position. And based off of what my college buddies who are also diehard Yankee fans were telling me, one of the most underrated signings of this offseason, and it's got nothing to do with on the field production, could be Brett Gardner. And this is coming from one of the biggest Brett Gardner haters in the history of Brett Gardner haters, okay? This man...
Only one person he hates more. There's only one person he hates more.
Chase Headley. Yeah, right. Chase Headley. And let me tell you something.
Chase Headley's the best third baseman in Yankee history.
Whoa, pump the brakes there, Adam.
Whoa, just take it easy.
When it comes to Brett Gardner, what you'll find fascinating is that he is the only member remaining of that 2009 championship team, right? The Yankees are in need of that sort of championship level experience in that locker room. Because outside of Aroldis Chapman, there's not another guy that you could point to and say, he gets it. He's been there. He's won it. So the Yankees, I think this is the season where the AL East, in my opinion, is wide open. And so if they are not able to capitalize on that, it'll be a season loss. That's my final thought.
I have something to get off my chest that most of you saw in a certain chat a couple of days ago.
Uh-oh.
And this goes along with something we didn't cover this week, and that would be the New York Knicks. A team that has been so mediocre for so long that the running joke of just saying the name 3 times, you turn around and you just see a giant L. This team actually looks good this year. That's where a certain Heat fan I know, or we all know very well, comes in. Justice.
My child.
Mike's child. The one who was so bad in fantasy baseball that you made Frankie's friend, who I forgot his name at this point, honestly.
Scott.
Yes, Scott. I'm sorry, Scott, but at least you were better.
Scott doesn't matter either.
Okay. Point is, this is the same person that would get into fights with Mike about the Yankees and Knicks all the time in high school. They would rap with each other in D-free period to the point where the dean would have to get intervene with them. This week's Cap of the Week is sponsored by Justice Williams. Cap. If it's Cap, it's whack. Justice said that the Knicks can't develop players and that no matter what happens, they are always going to be trash. 9 times out of 10, I would agree with Justice. But this year's a little bit different. You can talk all the trash you want about Pat Riley being the last time he won something considerably good, or about how your culture, you won championships, later than us. But the truth of the matter is, Justice likes to talk out of his behind, and he's doing it once again. And I'm asking you folks to, whenever you see Justice online or in person, just send him a hashtag saying all cap. Because that's all he is. All cap. All whack. Anything he talks about with the Knicks is out of pure hatred and jealousy. He's jealous of fans like myself or Mike following this team since day one when, Tracy McGrady in his late 30s was ruining this squad. Got 2 first-round picks for him. A team that had Chris Duhon starting at point guard. He wasn't there for that. He was there for LeBron James and Dwayne Wade. And when those two left, so did the Heat culture. And now what he's got currently is what he wishes the Knicks, would be. But what the Knicks currently have is what he wishes the Heat would be, which is a culture that's developing young players, younger talent. They're not scrubs. They're not flukes. And most importantly, there are surprises on this team that actually could do something longer than half the season. Because I've not seen Tyler Hero do anything since last season. I've not seen Duncan Robinson shoot a ball well in 2 straight games, or a stretch of 2 straight games. I'm not going to keep on rambling about this, but I'm just going to let you know that anything that Justice says regarding basketball, just take it with a grain of salt.
My final thoughts will be delivered in rapid fire because they are not connected whatsoever and are really fun to just say out loud. The Boston Bruins are hilarious. They lost 13-6 or 5 combined in the last 2 days, both against New York teams. Number 2, I've been watching Hell's Kitchen a lot lately. If you want to see some of the most casual misogynism you'll ever see, watch Hell's Kitchen Season 2. And that leads me with my final thought, and I will sign off after this. After watching the casual misogynism displayed on Hell's Kitchen Season 2, if you really have that big of a problem taking orders from a woman, chances are you're a straight guy and you're not that good at sex. Have a good night.
To host a fan show or appear as a fan on a fan show, simply create a profile on Fan Media's iOS app or website. Select your teams and make a short intro video on your phone. Show hosts, reporters, former players, and superfans can use our Get Verified feature and make an intro video as well, and our mobile newsroom staff will reach out.